This is going to be a very powerful video if God helps me with it and helps me to say everything that I have in my heart to tell you. Man, it's going to impact your life. Okay, so the reason I'm pointing at that right now is because I just made 1,000 of these, and it's just my way of evangelizing. So you flip it around, and so these are seeds. All right, guys, let's get straight to the video. All right. So what this video is about, it's about overcoming people, right? And what I mean by overcoming people is not allowing people to get the best of you, right? Let me start it off with the Bible verse that says that you struggle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and dark forces in heavenly places. But that's, in layman's terms, what that means is that basically, the devil uses people, demons use people, and often you're dealing with people. There's a reason why you're watching this, okay? Just give me a second. Often people are being used by demons, and then you're taking it personal. One of the best things that have ever happened to me was when I had the revelation that God calls us to forgive because the person is just being used as a byproduct to hurt you, and often they don't even know what they're doing. That's just a fact. I have been in the position myself where I have said some stupid things to my wife that I take back, and I apologize for. But I understand that I was under the influence at that point by a demonic force that was trying to get me to, we've all been there. Some of us acknowledge it and understand it more than others. But yeah, we've all gone too far. Usually when you're heated, you say things and you're like, man, I really said that, and it was just like, it was hurtful, it was like regretful, and that's when the demon comes in, and they really take it up a notch. So that's the beginning of the video. In terms of the introduction, is that this is, I live a very liberating life, and I just want to share my liberation, my freedom with people, because the reason why I'm liberated is because I understand now. See, once upon a time, I used to eat from what people gave me. I used to eat their thoughts. I used to eat their way of life. Okay, so if they thought of life being a certain type of way, I would just lean onto their understanding and just eat up all their food. You see, the food that I'm giving you right now is biblical. It's based on God's perspective of life, right? But when you eat the food of a fleshy person, meaning flesh holds hands with the devil. The devil and flesh is another word for sinful nature. Your sinful nature. So your sinful nature wants to rebel, be stiff-necked, wants to go in its own way, wants to, break the rules. Okay, that's another word for flesh, and that the Bible refers to as flesh, right? Okay, so when you're being led by people that are up to no good, right? Gangsters, thugs, people that are headed nowhere, right? And you can always tell by their fruit. And so their fruit will dictate who they are. It's not what they say that they are, it's what their fruit is, right? Just look at their actions, and you're going to be able to dictate for yourself whether this person's worth following or not. Now, me personally, when I was young, I was under a deception that, being cool was the epitome of life. It was just, I idolized being cool because I never attributed the spiritual life to being cool. I never understood that the devil, raps, it's almost like one of the devil's rings is cool. Okay, let's say that he plays, each one of his ring fingers, is a different facet of life. the cool one is the one that he uses a lot with the youth, right? So I fell for it, and he provides a lot of rules. The devil does, in that cool club. You know, like snitches get stitches. You know, rebellion, breaking the law, breaking the rules, fighting, getting into trouble, hurting people, all that kind of stuff, stealing, destruction, all that stuff that the devil lives for is what the cool club does, right? And I never, like I said, I didn't connect the dots, and I didn't know that I was living for the devil. Um, I would have told you the opposite. I would have told you I believe in God, and I would have told you, you know, possibly that I'm a Christian or whatever, just simply because of my belief in God. But those people that do that are so deceived, because your actions weigh heavily on who you are. It's not your words that dictate, you know, it's your actions. You know, so if you say you're a Christian, but you have no relationship with Jesus Christ on a daily basis, you don't follow him, you don't do his commandments, you're not connected to him, and you're doing the things of the devil, I question your commitment to Jesus Christ. I'm not trying to condemn anybody. I'm not trying to listen. Everybody, there's people in a process and whatnot, but I'm trying to keep it real. And by keeping it real, you have to call a spade a spade. You have to let people know that, you know, yet Jesus Christ is holy, and be ye holy just as I am holy. All right, back to the original video. So I was eating a bunch of food that these friends of mine that were thugs were giving me to eat. So I was gaining identity from them. Now, along with that identity, because it wasn't my true identity, I was extremely insecure. So, insecurity was a byproduct of me living outside of where I was supposed to be. Right? Let me say that again. Insecurity was in my life because I was wearing their shoes on my feet. And I was insecure because God created me to do certain things, to be fashioned a certain way, to go and be skilled in ways that they weren't skilled, to think and speak and act according to how he called me to be. But I was being a clone of them. So I was insecure. I was trying my best to fit in, but in the end of the day, I was forfeiting my soul and killing my soul in order to pose as an actor for people to like me. And that happened for many, many years. And after a while, you deceive yourself. After a while, you do it so many years that you kind of like buy into your own story, kind of thing. You buy into the fact that this is who you are. But you lost yourself a long time ago by that point. So here comes the juicy part of the video. For a long time, labels mattered to me. What you called me. Yeah, you see those people that if you call them a name, they want to fight you. You see those people that, you know, other people have so much power over them. Man, this is a powerful video. So other people have so much power over them, and you can tell because whatever they say, the other person reacts to it. And I used to be like that. But really, it's insecurity. I was insecure, and that's why I felt like I needed a fight, right? What's the difference between then and now? Okay. Right now, I've learned, and this is freeing. What I'm about to say, it'll free you. Some people have this revelation, other people don't. That most of what people say is an opinion. And that word opinion means that it's not a fact. It's just what you think. And because it's not a fact and it's just what you think, I don't have to buy into it. I don't have to wear it. I don't have to accept it. I don't have to receive it. I don't have to own it. As a matter of fact, if I do own it, I'm worse off because it's not even a fact. And so, man, when I got that revelation, it was so freeing. It wasn't even funny. So what I want people to understand is that so many people are trying to attach themselves to you. Right? Let's say you're up here, right? And they're trying to box you in with their beliefs, and often they do it with different people, right? It's not just one person telling you to believe this structure of lies and whatnot. You follow along because there's a crowd of people, and where there's numbers, you feel safe and secure, and so you follow along in this crowd. But you notice that it's scary. You're insecure. You're timid because it's unsafe. You have every right to be scared, but in that world, if you show fear, you're soft, you're weak, and so you put in a good front, a good poker face, so that nobody understands. But when you go home, you think about, man, if I die like this, I'm not living right. You have all those, you have all those inner inner voices in you that are telling you, man, this is not the right way of life and this and that, because you feel it. Your soul is screaming out, saying, like, I don't want to go to hell. I'm living in darkness. I feel oppressed. I feel depressed. I'm scared. I'm frightened. And you're going along for the ride because of numbers. You feel secure with the numbers. Sometimes it's a lot of numbers, right? But a negative and another negative never produces a positive. Okay? And so what often happens is that sometimes a bunch of people will gang up on one person because this one person has inner qualities that the devil hates. Let's say they're called and chosen. Let's say that they're going to be elected for a good service in life. Let's say that they stand out from the rest of them. That they're smart, they're educated. Let's say they're skilled or whatever. Often, all of these, let's call them dirtbags, because they're acting like dirtbags. They'll gang up. We've all seen this. They'll gang up on that one person and they'll mock them, make fun of them, scoff them, bring them down, break them down. And these are all demons inside of these people, right? And that's just a fact. These people are being used to break down this person right here, which that person is destined to be great. But in order for that person never to reach their greatness, the devil says, we got to take them down. Let's get them to commit suicide. Let's tell them that they're this name and that name and that name and this name. Now you're already away from where you're supposed to be. You were called and chosen to be highly successful and educated or whatever it may be. Your inner qualities speak to you on the inside. Like, you're artistic, you're creative, maybe you're like me, that you can give good advice, you navigate through life well, whatever it may be. But let's say you have a gift, right? Often, you become a target for other people. Now, they may not target your gift. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the ultimate plan there is to bring you down to a place where you don't believe in yourself, that you have no identity, you're not caring for yourself because you're broken down in numbers. I, for one, used to be made fun of a lot by a lot of different people, because of my drug habit. It used to be so bad that it took me to a place where people call you fiend, and they call you, just different names that come with that life. When you're separated, because you're over the top, you're an extremist, and you're frowned upon. It's almost like, I don't want to serve you up, kind of thing. So then if you do it even more after that, and you start stealing for it and this and that, you get like all this reputation that nobody wants to be around you, and so that was me, and I used to be made fun of a lot, right? Because mental illness was a thing for me. When drugs got to be like my whole life, mental illness became a thing for me. And so everybody was like attacking me and bringing me down. And for me, the world and the earth seemed like a horrible place to be in. So I slept a lot. I didn't want to really deal with people, places, or things. I isolated myself a lot. and I medicated myself to just cope with life. And so I was connected to a lot of bad sources, all of which were negative. I remember watching a lot of bad TV, listening to a lot of negative music, playing negative video games, doing smoking, drinking, and polluting my brain cells. So how could I get up out of a ditch if I'm doing all these negatives? They're weighing me down. They have holds on me. They're spiritual strongholds. Then I had inherited a bunch of demons that were inside of my life. They were butchering me from within, and all my peers and all my friends were gang up on me, making fun of me. And then my habits, they kept me there. They produced a little bit of pleasure. Remember playing pool. I was really good at pool and poker and this and that. These things produced a little bit of pleasure in my life that kept me there. Because if it was all negative, then I wouldn't have left. I mean, if it was all negative, I would have left. But there's always a little bit of something that's good that keeps you there, right? And then ultimately you're victimized. But the devil always gives you a little something, something. So, like a little birthday cake kind of thing. Like, yeah, stick around, don't go anywhere. This is, it's worth it to you kind of thing. But the more you're connected to all of this is sucking the life out of you. Sucking the soul out of you. Because the more you're involved with these things, right? The more you're involved, the more chunks of your true identity they're sucking out of you. And you can get to the point where you're empty, you're cold, you're dead on the inside. You can get to the point where you feel like you're in hell, like I did. You get to a point where you're burning yourself and punching yourself and cursing yourself and hating yourself because you're surrounded by evil, both physically and spiritually and mentally in anguish. And so, you're connected. That's the problem. You're connected to these sources. And so, this is the thing, guys. And so you're living your life from this place, and then what happens is that somewhere along the way, you start to say to yourself, this ain't really working out. This right here, it's not working out to my benefit. The devil's bombarding you with suicide, telling you commit suicide. This is what's going to help you, because if you commit suicide, then you'll have peace. Let's say that's peace, and you'll have peace, and you just transition from all this darkness. You'll transition to peace, and you'll just be at peace, and everything will go away, and you won't have to deal with all this negativity and darkness. You could have, let's say that the yellow signifies happiness. Let's say you'll have happiness, and so all that. So you're here, and you're looking on the other side of the fence, and you're seeing this. Right? Some of you are looking at my videos and you're saying, man, I want that. I want happiness. I want, these are all cheerful colors, right? And so, like, I want good habits. I want happiness. I want to live a life where I don't have to look over my shoulder, where I don't have to be paranoid or fearful or timid or nervous. I want a life where I can be triumphant and successful and victorious and all that. Right? And so we always have to be careful with that. You see that one right there? You gotta be careful that snakes and rats don't enter into your clique, right? Because there's always that wolf in sheep clothing. There's always that snake that the devil's trying to use to pull you back into all of this rut, right? And so you're here trying to do all your life and really fulfill your life, and you found that this way is way better than this way, and you're like, all right, I'm living like this forever, but be careful with sin, and be careful with people that will drag you back down, because if you're not careful, you could go back here. This looks like a cross, but that has no significance in this story. And so then there's these different types of colors, and these are all different colors that basically signify confusion. You're looking out into the world and you're trying to make sense of everything, but while you're over here, you can't make sense of all this. You just understand that There's a bunch of different sects and columns out there. A lot of people are looking at a bunch of different help, and it's like, oh, this one offers this. This does this. Everybody's offering something different and telling you that there's holding, and you see little glimpses of happiness in different areas, and you're like, maybe it's over there. Maybe I should enter into Santeria or something like that. Look, I see a little bit of happiness there, and so like, just be careful. Just be careful, because the devil has just bombarded so many people with so many choices and so many avenues, and it's like, oh yeah, follow this and follow that, and then this and that and that and this. And so I've always said in all my videos, positive, good is good and bad is bad. Bad is never going to be good, and good is never going to be bad. So what is bad? Like hurting people, hurting yourself, anything that's affiliated with negativity, obviously is bad. But the ultimate goal over here, guys, is to stay connected to something that is much bigger than you. And what is that something? Well, you guessed it. It's Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the author of life. He is the one that created you. He created this planet. And so by putting your faith in him and by you connecting yourself to him, your blocks start to turn from black to yellow. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Because I remember that I used to be like this, black. And the more I went to church, the more light came into my life. The more I went to church, the more I affiliated myself with good people and all that, more light came into my life. And little by little, and it didn't happen overnight, but God started to chip away. As I prayed, he started to chip away at these bad influences that were in my life. My so-called friends started to get weeded out of my life. And so each and every time something like that happened, I was less connected to negativity. And so I still struggled with weed and drugs and pornography and so many other things. But I had Jesus Christ that I was praying to. And Jesus Christ was working behind the scenes in my life. Sometimes you feel him, see him working, and other times you have to walk by faith. And you don't see much, but he's working, because every now and again he'll give you a sign, and somebody will come and knock on your door and talk to you about Jesus Christ and let you know what, things are going to get better. For me, that's what happened. People started to come around, give me the word of Jesus Christ, sowing seeds in me, and little by little I started to get epiphanies. Epiphany is like ideas, like, hey, maybe there is hope for me. Maybe I don't have to live this way. And I started to see a ray of happiness. All the while, the light was not in me, but I could see it from where I was at. The light was in the end of the tunnel. And so, every now and again, I'll meet somebody that was good, cheerful, good people. And I say, oh man, that person's like water to me. They're helpful, and they don't want anything from me. They don't want to use me. They don't want anything from me. They just want to help me. So then I would look at the people that I was affiliated with, and I said, I would get turned off. I'm like, you always bring me down, man. And then little by little, these chains started to break. I started to feel like, what? My eyes started to grow open. I started to understand, like, evil is the problem here. And if I just break away, I can have this as my portion. And if I affiliate myself with these things, then these things have to go. And so I'll never forget when I decided to make the devil my enemy. It was a game changer for me, because I was deceived into thinking that he was my friend. And of course, if you're embracing your demise and your destruction, if you're embracing that, then he's going to win. But when I decided to make evil, drugs, like the sin and all that, when I decided to make that the enemy of my life, obviously things started to break off of me. And then I started to serve at church. Right? You see me becoming more and more free. And now I'm serving at church. and I'm connecting myself to a new crowd. Obviously, these are the little demons saying, "Hey, you're a sellout. Hey, you're this, you're that." All these little lashing out and over here, I feel like I'm drinking a big glass of water. I feel like, oh man, like this is what I wanted my whole time. Now, the reason why all of this, I'm gonna put a spin on it. Like it sucked. It was horrible. It was negative. But look at me today, guys. Look at what I'm doing right now. I have this wisdom that is that God is using to really educate the people, the youth, anybody, everybody. And it's like letting like God will take evil. He'll take all that, all these demons and stuff like that, and he'll be like, all right, you got a lot of experiences under your belt. Now teach the confused crowd. Teach them. The people that haven't made it to where you're at, let them know, how to get to where you're at. So that they could also have happiness, peace, and joy, and all these other things, and liberation. And so obviously, this whole preparation, this whole process, now when these people talk to me and they tell me, you know, anything negative about me, because that's the devil's language, is negativity, what I do is I consider the source. Look at you. You live in negativity and darkness. And why am I even listening to you? You're calling me names. You're putting me down. And now, I'm happy. I'm like, I'm not taking you serious. Not in the least bit. Because I understand your situation better than you understand your situation. You need deliverance. You need help. So you're a hurt individual. You're living in suffering, and you're coming at me because I have what you want, and you're envious and you're jealous and you want to take me down because, quite frankly, you can't stand the fact that I'm not suffering with you. And so you're calling me a bunch of names. And so what I do is I reach out to them. I'm like, let me bless you, brother. I want to bless you with a gift and let you know that Jesus loves you and that there is hope for you and that you don't have to live this way. These people are baffled at this point. Like, man, I'm putting you down, man. I'm doing everything I can to bring you down. They're thinking that in their head. And you're gonna bless me, and here's $20. Here's some food. Here's whatever, and they can't understand. And so it's like, I understand. I understand that you're hurting. I understand that life. I understand that you're connected to a lot of evil, negativity. And out of that place, you're just regurgitating what you feel on the inside. So I'm going to help you. I'm gonna convert you into what I am right now. Because freely I received, now freely I'm going to give. Here's Jesus Christ. He is your answer. He represents light, peace, salvation, redemption, deliverance, everything you need. No, I've gone too far. I've done too many bad things. You don't understand. I've done things that you can never understand. I paid the price for you. I died on the cross for you. I did, anything that you can, anything under the sun that you have done, I paid for it so that you can be forgiven. Do you accept that I did that for you? Do you accept? Yes, I accept. Okay. Comes into his life. The light of God starts to destroy the darkness, and not overnight, but little by little, they go from a black shade to a brown shade, from a brown shade to a blue shade, from a blue to a purple to an orange, to eventually, man, and then they're telling the story. They're telling us, I used to be like this, but one day, somebody came up to me and they told me, about Jesus. Not about religion, about Jesus. And so hopefully that helps some people here. But that's the gospel, and that's just God's hand at work, saving people day and night, man. And I leave you guys with this right here. Boom. Salvation in Jesus Christ. He loves you. And if you're watching this video, it's because you're meant to watch this video. It's because he's speaking straight into your life. So if you're looking like this, you're not going to be looking like that for much longer. Connect yourself to happy things and to Jesus Christ. And then, obviously, you're going to have a bunch of different people from all walks of life. Your family and different people tell you, no, you're becoming a fanatic, or you're too extremist, or you're religious, and everybody's going to be having a voice in your life. That's what happened to me. And so what happens is that you're going to have to either go with them. You see all these different types of colors. There is no order. There's like, basically, you can go with them. That's your free will, but you'd be disowning your salvation and your happiness. Right? And so you can accommodate man, you can please man and displease God, or you can sacrifice, and put all your chips in the middle of the table, as I did, and say, you know what, you guys have had a voice in my life far too long. I followed you far too long, and I understand you've always led me astray, and you've promised a lot and you've never delivered, and so I ain't following you no more. I'd rather put my eggs in God's basket and see how things end up. And yeah, you end up with happiness.